Hello, this is Michael with the Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival, and I'm having a chat here with our festival alumni today, filmmaker Enrico Natale. Thanks so much for joining me, Enrico.
Yeah, I love that my camera is just suddenly going blurry all of a sudden. It doesn't want to show my face. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah,
It's been a long time, my friend. How you doing?
yes, good. Um, so yeah, we'll just dive in here. Blue Whiskey, the Blue Whiskey Independent Film Festival, it began in 2010, and your short film Tumble Dry was among our very first official selections. And
That's great.
then that following year, in 2011, your I believe series pilot No Names played with. So I wanted to ask, like, how have projects like these helped prepare you for this last decade or more, really, of work?
Wow, it's a blast from the past. I mean, obviously, they were huge learning experiences for me, and Tumble Dry was one of the first like professional short films that I think I wrote and produced and star in that, and which is kind of like what I do in my career now, basically. But I it was like the first time I tried to like really make something polished and be more than just messing around with friends and making ridiculous online videos on like Funny or Die or something at that point what it was. And it was a really unique, interesting experience of putting all the pieces together and like learning how the learning how it all happens, right? Even in post
Right.
production, sound design and Foley and all that stuff that I'd never really experienced before. I think that was the first project that I was like, oh, all this has to happen too. Like, oh, okay, you're like, I have to do this stuff now. And so it was a huge learning experience for me, and I certainly love it. And the same with No Names. No Names had a very hopeful future potentially. We almost got on what was it, Comedy Central. We almost got picked up for series on Comedy Central, and
Wow.
it was a whole thing, but they were too afraid it was too close to Entourage, and it
Uh,
was like a split decision, and they decided not to do it. But that was a close break early on in the career. But that one as well, it was a huge learning experience. Just having a tiny budget and just trying to get the best you can out of it, which is what
right.
independent filmmaking is to a certain extent.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, skipping ahead a little forward here to The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain, which was a big winner at the 2019 Austin Film Festival, among other festivals, of course,
Yeah,
and was nominated for 3 Film Independent Spirit Awards, I believe,
yeah.
including yourself for editing.
Mhm.
Um, all of which, this is all amazing and very well deserved. And the film was also a BWiFF 2020 official selection that we actually never got the opportunity to exhibit, but it was for the best reasons, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because we had postponed our festival because of the
yes.
pandemic, and by the time we were able to screen it, well, able to screen our 2020 official selections, the film had distribution, which is just awesome. And I guess wanted to ask, like, can you share what that experience was like working on an independent film that had such a powerful and true story that really captured audiences? What was that journey like from small indie film to wow, people are really connecting with and being affected by this film?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll say that film in particular kind of changed my life, my trajectory of my career, and my kind of perspective on filmmaking in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Um, you know, it was the first film that I made that I felt could make a difference in the world, and the first film I made that had a voice outside of just cinema. And that was something I never realized was important to me, and never realized how much I cared about that. Um, so it really changed that threw a curveball at me, and in terms of even just my creative partner and I, David, who was the writer director of it. You know, we've wrote, I think, another 7 true story screenplays, you know, that are getting developed and made. And, you know, just that avenue of cinema, I really, there's something about it that is really intriguing to me. You know, I got to work with the Chamberlain family,
Mm.
and I'm still to this day really close with Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., the victim's son. And, you know, he's become someone I care about dearly. And, you know, his whole family and what happened. I spent so many years of my life, you know, focused on this story and focused on telling it right and making sure that they were comfortable and happy with it. And it just became something that, um, you know, one of the biggest things that happened for that film is that the city of White Plains finally settled with the Chamberlain family about a year ago, a year and a half, maybe a year ago. And um, you know, I'm not joking when I say that that's better than any award the film could have ever won, is having the film, and you know, a small part because Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. has been fighting for his father and for some sort of justice and accountability for his father for since 2011 when it happened. But the fact that the film pushed it into the spotlight, you know, Morgan Freeman's voice as an executive producer really helped amplify that as well. And the story just being so powerful and heartbreaking to watch, you know, I think it forced the city to have to do something about it when they were just kind of sweeping it under the rug for a decade, more than a decade. That feeling was incredible. You know, just knowing that art was able to, you know, cinema doing something in our field was actually able to cause something of good to happen. So yes, the Independent Spirit Awards were like incredible for my filmmaking career, and like I will treasure that experience for the rest of my life. And we were nominated for an Image Award alongside Coda. You know, we were up against Coda. We didn't even know Coda was best picture at the time, but like, you know, Coda won, not surprisingly. But you know, just to say now that we were nominated with Coda is such an incredible, you know, and our film was tiny. It's tiny.
Right.
Like
Right.
we were up against at the Independent Spirit Awards, and we actually won a Gotham Award. Frankie Faison won, our lead actor won a Gotham Award. And there were films there that were literally, I'm not even joking, 30 times our budget, 40 times our budget. We were some film's craft service budget, you know, like we had
Right.
almost no money, and we were going up against huge movies with big names. And you know, that feeling of knowing that this story and this film is being taken that seriously was such an experience for me that, you know, it made me recognize what anyone, but hopefully myself and my creative partner and our team is capable of if we put our mind to it and actually put forth the energy and effort that it takes to make something at that level.
Yeah.
But really that cinema can inspire and motivate and change and
Yeah.
create. And that was just you know, I can't speak highly enough about that experience. It's been you know, it'll always likely be one of my favorite experiences in my life, just because of all of the things that it did for me, for my soul, for my heart, for my, you know, for me as a filmmaker, my growth as me as a filmmaker, and that. So all of it was just a tremendous experience.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
sorry that WIFF couldn't have it. I was so bummed. Like,
It's fine.
you know, yeah, of course, I totally understood why WIFF had to cancel the 20. I mean,
Right.
we didn't even know if we could ever leave our homes again. But by the time it was going to happen, yeah, we had distribution, and they were like, no, no more festivals are done. You know, we have to cut it off, and you know, we're releasing soon, and they had a whole strategy and plan. So it didn't end up working out, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know, we were so excited about it, you know, and it was such an awesome opportunity to be able to see it, for the programming team to see it, because I know that they were extremely passionate about it. And I remember one of the first programmers that had seen it too was like, when they found out, they were like, "That's awesome! I mean, I'm super bummed for us, but that is awesome!" Like, they were more excited. They were more excited about it. So that's great. So jumping into For Profit, your latest work as producer and an actor. The film, a little bit about the film. So it follows a small business owner named Damon, who has a demon that follows him around. Then suddenly Damon begins seeing an angel who's calling upon him to step up and save his hometown from alleged corruption. At the film's premiere, which was last week, and it was so great to be in attendance at. So thank you for the invite. You had said in the Q&A that you were really drawn to the demon role in For Profit. So could you share what it was about that particular role that interested you most?
Yeah, I mean, the film is a it's a faith comedy dramedy, and I'm not necessarily a particular person of faith myself. I'm not against it or opposed it in any way, but um, what I when the writer director, which is Mark Iverson, who I've known for a while, showed me the script and had me read it. I felt like this was a script. This is a film that both faith and non-faith audiences can enjoy
Yeah.
and feel. And I felt like that was because of the demon role, especially because the demon role is is a role that everyone in the world deals with. Everyone has that demon on their shoulder that just tells them all the terrible things about themselves. And you know when you look in the mirror, when you're trying to write that paper or write that story, or when you're looking at your own art, or you're looking at your own work and you're like, this isn't good enough, whatever. Everyone has that. Everyone struggles with that feeling of never being satisfied with yourself. And I felt like I wanted to portray that because, nobody is above unfortunately, nobody is above that's kind of what comes with being human. And I felt like this story depicted that quite marvelously to me. The idea of someone just can't get that voice out of his head of just ragging on the whole time. It just, won't leave him alone. Can't get it to stop. Just constantly putting himself down. And so, I, as much as I felt pretty powerful that I wanted to be that voice, that
Yeah.
demon.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that with your performance that I really thought was great was how I guess I never looked at insecurity as, an inner demon until I saw the film. But the way that was highlighted and the way that it was portrayed, I thought it was really effective and really really enlightening for me as a viewer.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. I mean, like it's insecurity, but yes, that comes from within ourselves. But everyone has demons. Everyone has demons within themselves that they're fighting, and I think that insecurity is such a massive one. Never feeling like you're good enough, never feeling like what you do will suffice to the people around you, or the person you're with, or your family, or your kids, or your friends, or strangers, complete random strangers that see you do something and you feel self-conscious about it. Like, it's just something that everyone deals with. And I totally think, Mark did an excellent job of writing that character to be portrayed in such a way where I think it's a visual representation of that everyone can kind of grab onto and say, okay, I understand what he means by that, what that person's going through.
So as a producer on the film, what was the greatest challenge for the production team when it came to completing the film?
Well, the challenges all throughout. Again, this is a small budget film, primarily funded by Mark and his family. I knew that going in, so I really wanted to be hyper focused on making sure that we were careful of how we spent money, and and making sure that we weren't going over budget or anything like that. But, you know, looking at something like Kenneth Chamberlain, which was almost entirely one location, and then looking at something like For Profit, which is like we were doing like 3 locations a day sometimes. And like we had a 16-day shoot, 100-page script, and we were shooting multiple locations a day. And for any non-filmmaker listening, anytime you have to change locations, you have to pick up all of the lights, all of the stuff that you set down, and you have to pack it back up, and you have to move over to another location, then set it all back up again. It takes
a lot of time.
takes
Yeah.
a lot of time to do that, especially when you're small and you don't have a huge transportation arm of your film. So, which obviously we didn't. So it was a lot of like people stepping in, helping out, making sure things happened. And so, it was pretty stressful in terms of like making sure that we got everything that we needed to get, making sure that we were on top and of our days. It was a lot. It was a lot to shoot in a very little amount of time. So that was a pretty difficult part of producing it, and then also post production, because we got put right into COVID during post production. So we were trying to finish this movie during COVID. Our mixer had a death in the family as it happened, and it was just like everything got kind of kept getting delayed and pushed, and we didn't have enough money to like just drop a whole bunch of money on it. So, and we had to be patient because we wanted it to be good, and we wanted it to sound good and look good, and be as sharp and as much of a professional film as possible, which is what my big promise to Mark was. Like, I'm not coming in here to make what I believe sometimes faith films are. They focus more on the faith and less on the filmmaking. And I said, I don't want to make that type of movie. If I'm going to help you make this movie, the acting, the cinematography, the sound, the color, the everything about it has to be top notch. And we focused on that, so that took a little bit longer in post production because of all the whole country was going through turmoil at that point. But we got it done, and I think I'm really proud of the work that we did and the film that got turned out because of it.
Yeah, well, and I gotta commend you guys, because I mean, even through the pandemic, though, I mean, especially I would say then, the pressure to just finish it and be done with it,
Yeah.
I know can be crazy, and from all aspects, especially on a low budget project. And so to hold out and be like, no, we've got to do it right. I mean, that's really great that you guys did that, and it really does show in the final product. It's
Awesome.
it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what do you want audiences to take away from For Profit?
I would say it's a two-parter for me. If you're a person of faith, I want you to understand that faith movies can be funny, and faith movies can be of a higher quality and still receive a message of faith through it, which I think that this film does. And if you're not a person of faith, I think you can look at the story and still find meaning behind it, because again, it doesn't hit you over the head. There's a real, cinematic arc that happens with these characters, and I think my character in particular is a character that I think a lot of people can relate to, whether they're a person of faith or not, because everyone struggles with that. Everyone struggles with that insecurity, and so there's certainly a message for everyone in this film.
For sure, that's
Yeah.
great. So, last question really here. What's next for you? Is there anything that you're able to share? I know you touched a little bit on some projects you're working on with David. Is there anything you're able to share at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I can share it now because we officially released a Variety article about it. But my next film is going to be my biggest film that I've done so far, and David and I, which is David Medell, which is the writer director of Kenneth Chamberlain, him and I wrote a exorcism film, a true story, based on a true story, terrifying kind of subject matter, but also It was, a lot of what happened in this story is what The Exorcist used for the book. It pulled a lot of our main characters' journaling to tell that story. But this is a story that is very powerful, and we were able to get, for our two priests, we were able to get Dan Stevens, who I think is a tremendous actor, and then probably my favorite actor of all time. We got to cast Al Pacino as the older priest, which has been just an incredible experience to be able to work with him and sit down with him. The first time I met up with him, he had our script tabbed up and noted up, and it was just such a cool experience. And you just get to realize he's just a super passionate artist like everyone else. It was really, really quite tremendous to see how much love he still has for art. But it's been such an incredible experience. We're in post production for that now, and we'll be hopefully coming out in Q1 or Q2 of 2025, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, I've got a whole bunch of other things. I've too many things always going on at once, but I would say that that's the next big thing that's hopefully going to be coming out for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, keep us posted on all of it. Obviously, we're gonna keep an eye out in Variety and the trades and all that stuff, and helping doing what we can to help amplify those projects and get them out there. So thank you.
You, Mike.
Thank you so much for sitting down for this quick chat. For Profit is actually in select theaters right now across the United States. It opened this weekend. Thank you for the swag. I've got it. It's awesome. Look for showtimes. If you're here in Chicago, look for showtimes at the AMC River East 21, South Barrington 24, Lake in the Hills 12. I believe it also got added to the Classic Cinemas in Carpentersville, and also showing in Elgin, yeah, the Marcus Elgin Theater. So yeah, get out there, check it out. Thank you again, Enrico, and thank you all for watching this, supporting independent film and our festival alumni. Cheers.